major turn of events in Oregon, where an appeals court has now ruled the president can deploy National Guard troops to Portland. The federal court ruling says that it's, quote, likely that the president lawfully exercised his statutory authority in federalizing the Guard. NewsNation's Jorge Ventura is live in Portland and witnessed protests escalate outside an ICE facility there Saturday night. So, Jorge, Oregon officials are already pushing back.
Yeah, that's right, Nichole. Oregon's Attorney General Dan Rayfield is already asking for a broader panel of appeals to reconsider that decision that overturned a temporary restraining order that was put in place by a federal judge here in Portland. But the court's now giving the Trump administration a major victory and will allow the president to deploy National Guard troops to protect federal buildings here in Portland. And that ruling is really sending a shockwave to the residents here who strongly oppose the move of troop deployments. President Trump has vowed to crack down on left-wing violence in Portland, calling the city a war zone, and says that troop deployment is necessary to protect federal officers at the ICE facility here in South Portland, which has become a scene of constant protest since June. NewsNation was on the ground over the weekend where we witnessed some of those clashes with protesters and federal agents, and at times those clashes turning very violent. NewsNation did speak with residents here in Portland following that court ruling for their reaction.
I'm troubled by it. I am afraid that my community will be hurt by it in a very physical way. I'm afraid of a Kent State or a Charlottesville sort of a scenario happening here.
I would rather have the National Guard here than the 82nd Airborne, which Trump has threatened to send to Portland. So if we get our choice, I think the National Guard is better equipped for maintaining safety and peace.
U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi reacting to the ruling on X saying, quote, the Ninth Circuit found that POTUS has a right to deploy the National Guard of Portland, Oregon, where local leaders have failed to keep their citizens safe. This follows hard work by the Justice Department attorneys and helps reaffirm a simple truth. President Trump is the commander-in-chief. We will continue fighting and winning in court to defend President Trump's agenda. Secretary Noem also reacting on X following her visit to this ICE facility in Portland, saying, quote, another victory for President Trump and the safety and the security of the American people. The U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit ruled that POTUS is rightfully using his constitutional authority to direct the National Guard to protect federal assets, personnel, and public safety in Portland, Oregon. Now, the panel of judges did detail in their ruling months of incidents at the ICE facility that included violent clashes with federal officers and how the facility needed to increase security measures such as the boarded windows. Oregon Attorney General now Dan Rayfield is asking for a broader panel to reconsider that decision.
We're going to continue to fight against the president and his attempt to normalize the use of military on our streets, and we will continue to fight to uphold the rule of law and our Constitution and the sovereignty of our state. Incredibly important at this time in America's history.
Now, it's unclear exactly when those National Guard troops will arrive here in Portland, but as you're looking here on your screen, big protest is already scheduled for this Friday outside of the ICE facility. So it'll be interesting if we see any of those more kind of violent, chaotic clashes that we saw over the weekend here outside of the ICE facility. Nichole.
All right, Jorge Ventura, live for us there in Portland. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.